These days, we're able to create beautiful photographs using cameras or our camera phones. But the photographs weren't always beautiful when we took them. We can zoom in and change the focus or color, open closed eyes, and crop out what we don't want on the edges of the photo. People's photos on social media are often perfect. A snapshot in time made perfect by Photoshop. We even try to make our lives perfect. And sometimes we do it by adjusting or relocating responsibility. As in the blame game. We all know it. Kids say to their parents, "Yeah, but I only spilled my milk because my brother bumped me." Spouses blame each other. "I ran out of gas because I didn't have time to fill the tank, and you should have because you drove the car last." And Genesis tells us that Eve said, "The serpent tricked me, and I ate." In the blame game, we compare ourselves with others, and we try to be the ones in the beautiful light at the center of the photo. Someone sent me an email that made me laugh that included the line, "I've learned that you shouldn't compare yourself to others. They are more screwed up than you think." But we often know just where we are in relation to others by making comparisons. She's prettier than I am. I'm smarter than he is. I'm younger if physical beauty is the goal, or older if wisdom is the goal. Somebody's always more or less nice, more or less talented, more or less socially gifted, more or less experienced. Add to that the judgments that we make about particular groups of people based on race, gender, national origin, income, religion. It's like each time we judge ourselves against someone else, we're elbowing others out of the center of the photo so we might crop them out. It's also a natural human tendency to see what might be considered wrong and wonder who or what to blame. One of the issues impacting people in Jesus' time is the issue of illness or disability, as we read in today's gospel text. It is so ingrained in their thoughts that when the disciples see a man that they know was born blind, they idly ask Jesus, "Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?" Not only is it assumed that his blindness is God's payment for someone's sins, but the disciples obviously don't even see what they're doing, and asking this right in front of the man. In doing so, they objectify him. He's also paying the price for someone's sins, they think, even if people are unsure if these sins are sins that his parents committed or sins that he somehow committed before he was born. That sounds pretty ridiculous, right? But just the fact that his disciples are asking tells us how far this legalism has gone. Their particular photo only makes sense if that man on the edge there, the blind one, is in that place because of someone's sins. Jesus' answer to that question is fascinating. Neither this man nor his parents sinned. He was born blind so that God's works might be revealed in him. In other words, Jesus is saying that the man was born blind so that other people might see, maybe including the disciples. And after the blind man is healed, some of the people around him try to maintain the perfect picture, even though something unheard of has happened. In amazement that he's been healed, a few people ask a question. Isn't this not the man who used to sit and beg? Some answer, he is the one. But others say, no, it's just someone who looks like him. In other words, he doesn't occupy the same place in the picture anymore, so he must be a different person. He has his eyes open. He looks different. Then they bring the man to the Pharisees, so the Pharisees can pronounce him cured. Now the Pharisees have to come to terms with the fact that the man has been healed on the Sabbath. In the first creation story in Genesis, God rested on the seventh day from creating the world. We know that for the Pharisees, honoring the Sabbath is very important because God said to rest on that day. Some of them can't handle the ambiguity. If Jesus heals on the Sabbath, he can't have come from God. Jesus, in healing someone, has performed work, and in their eyes has profaned or violated the Sabbath. They're still trying to discern where, in their photo, this healer might fit. The other way to crop the imperfections from the picture is to say that the man can't have been blind in the first place. But this idea is laid to rest when they ask the man's parents if this is their son, and if he was born blind, and finally, how he can be seeing now. His poor parents, who probably have been shunned for their supposed sin ever since he was born, agree that he is their son and that he was born blind. But they tell the Pharisees to ask their son directly about his healing. Maybe they imagine that they are in danger of being thrown out of the synagogue, of being cropped out of the picture. So at this point, the only way the Pharisees can maintain their perfect picture is to get the man to confess that the one who healed him is a sinner. This, the man just won't do. He finally says, if this man were not from God, he could do nothing. And that is the truth that would bring their whole world down around their ears if they accepted it. So they drive him from the synagogue. They have maintained the illusion that the picture is perfect, that laws are cast in stone, that illness and disability are directly caused by personal sin, and that no one has come into their midst showing extraordinary powers that must have come from God. When the man leaves the synagogue and is outside, he encounters Jesus, who has been looking for him. As a result of their short conversation, the man comes to believe in Jesus, the Son of Man. In thinking about this text, I know that there are times that I am a sinner, times when I can't let go of the perfect picture in my mind. And if you think about it, this is a problem with our society too. It's as if we have an image of a perfect creation, the way that things ought to be. Within this perfect creation, everyone looks the same, everyone is healthy, everyone is able-bodied, everyone is young and beautiful, talented and smart, dependent on no one, and well-adjusted. And the ones we would like to cut out of the picture are not. It's as if we have a version of American Idol or one of the competitive reality TV shows running in our heads. And if we are children, or elderly, or ill, or not able to work, we may feel marginalized. We may feel that we are very close to the edge of the photo and in danger of being cropped out. What Jesus shows us in today's lesson turns that whole world upside down. By healing the man and by later seeking him out, he says, no one is marginalized in the kingdom of God. No one's illness or disability or any other condition of humanity is caused by sin. No one is less valuable than anyone else. And we don't need to fear losing our societal value or even our life. We all have equally important places in the picture. In using mud, humus, the stuff humanity was made of, to heal the man's blindness, Jesus shows us that the creation of the world continues. I appreciate the motto of the United Church of Christ, God is still speaking, with a big comma rather than a period. I also like the words of Martin Luther. Grace is never present in such a way that it is inactive, but is a living, active, and operative spirit. Grace is the continuing and perpetual action through which we are grasped and moved by the Spirit of God. When we have fixed pictures in our minds, When we engage in judging and blaming others and exclude people, we are sinners. When we are grasped by God's grace, alive and moving us, we are saints, acting through and grateful for the God who heals and seeks us out. In this life, we are both saints and sinners, but we find that more and more our vision, like the blind man's, is becoming healed. We begin to see a different image, one that is moving and alive, one that doesn't need the stillness of attempted perfection. Within that moving picture, there is a circle, and God, wearing the face of a human being, is at the center of that circle on a cross, acting in love to the end. No one is holier than anyone else. We're all on the margins, yet we're all included. Have you heard the saying, "Please be patient, God isn't finished with me yet"? Well, it has become so well known in some Christian circles that it's actually an acronym. PBPGIFWMY. It's a saying worth remembering, though. Please be patient. God isn't finished with me yet. God is still speaking to and through. I am a work in progress and a moving picture that is still being composed. I come to church to be reminded of God's love for me, to remember when I was washed clean in baptism, to be fed frequently with Jesus' own body and blood in the community that is known as the body of Christ, and to be sent forth to be that body outside these doors. I come to be reminded that I am not more important nor less important than anyone else. In Jesus' life, death, and resurrection, God gave me everything that I might be a witness to that love and serve all people. Our Episcopal Church trivia quiz that we filled out Wednesday night at the soup supper answered this question: why are so many Episcopal church doors red? And one of the correct answers says this: because churches are not so much museums for saints as hospitals for sinners. The church is the place for sinners who are becoming saints, and a place where we begin to see. Get the picture? But that describes you as it does me. Welcome home.